Now, I hope you are all are good and most welcome on for day 2 of machine learning model implementation using Flask. Okay, so far we have started with Python. We have understood why Python and basics of Python, right? All the theoretical knowledge, right? Now in day 2 we are going to understand how to code in Python. Okay, so lots of theoretical knowledge has already been given. Now we are going to move towards the practical implementation. Are you guys ready for that? Are you guys ready for that? Yes or no? Are you guys ready for that? Give me some excitement. Come on. Okay, perfect. So let's start today's session. Perfect. So if you're going to revise, I'm just going to take you a few couple of minutes. We have understood about Python. We have understood about Python. Why do we need Python? Why it is easy for human to understand Python as compared to other languages, right? Why is Python slower? We know that. Why Python is being used widely currently, why everyone is having so much fuss about Python. We have understood that about that. What can we do with the help of Python? We have understood that as well, right? Now let's see how we can use Python. Okay, and I'm pretty much sure that you guys have already installed, either you have installed your IDE or you must have installed your VS Code, or if you want to go with, you can go with Collab as well. Okay, so I'm sure you know about how you have to use the Collab. This is how the UI of Collab is going to look like. This is the cell. Okay, this is one cell, this is another cell, this is another cell. In this cell we are going to write a code and execute a code, and then we are going to get our output and the same cell as well. Okay, so this is an interface that Google provides to you. Okay, so you can use free of cost Google's CPU, GPU and TPU. So over here we are having 12 GB of RAM. If you see, Google provides you free 12 GB of RAM. Okay, so if you don't have a system that is having 8 GB RAM or 12 GB RAM or higher GB of RAM, you can make the most out of this Google Colab. Okay, and even though if you're working on deep learning, you can just switch from CPU to GPU as well and TPU as well. Okay, is it clear? Is this clear to all of you? Yes or no? Is it clear? Is it clear? Come on, tell me. Is this clear to all of you? Give me a confirmation. Perfect. Okay, let's start this. Now, suppose you want to print something. You say that this is I don't know about Python much, and I want to print something, right? That's the first thing that you do in your any programming language, right? So what happens is that in other programming languages such as C and Java, you have to write at least 4 to 5 lines of code, right? But in Python it's very easy. We have a function known as a print function. We have a function known as print function. Now see, as I've already mentioned that for the prerequisite for Python is just you should know a simple English. If you know English, you know Python, you can easily communicate with Python. Okay, so we have this print function. And now see, when I'm saying it's a function, what exactly is a function? A function is a piece of code. Okay, it's a piece of code that is designed for some functionality. And how do I know that this is a function? How do I know that this is a function? The syntax for the function will be, you will be getting a name of a function, name of a function. Let me write over here, followed up with a round bracket. Okay, so whenever in the upcoming time, if you see any function that is following this pattern, that will known as a function. Okay, I cannot say that ABCD is a function. I cannot say that. The reason being is that because this is the name of the function. Okay, on the first hand I accept that, but it is not been followed up by the round bracket. Okay, if it is like something like this, okay, then this will be called as a function. Okay, so similarly this print is a function. Okay, we have a length, that is for the length function. We have a max function, we have a main function, sorry, we have a type function as well. Okay, so these all are function. This is the function name, and this is being followed up by the round bracket. Okay, so let's understand about this. When we say print, it's a just kind of a same thing that you want to print something. Okay, you are having a system and you are having a printer. Okay, now you're telling your printer that, hey, print me something. You are telling your printer, hey, print out. Now a printer will going to ask you, okay, I'm going to print it. Perfect. But what do you want me to print? Do you want me to print a document? Do you want me to print a PDF? You want me to print an image or whatsoever, right? You need to give an instruction to your printer that, hey, I want you to print this specific thing, right? Similarly, if you want to print something, you need to tell the function, you need to tell the print function. Let me take this over here and let me put this at the top. Okay, you need to tell the function that what do you want to print. Okay, let's say I want a function to print a simple text, that is hello world. So I'm going to say hello world. Okay, now I'm telling this print function, the functionality of this print function is to print whatsoever you are going to provide over here. It will going to print on the console or on the terminal. Okay, so if you're going to run this, you can see we are getting hello world over here. This is same hello world that has been given the instruction. Okay, this is a same and simpler Python function. Is this clear? Is this clear? Is this clear? Yes or no? Is this clear? Yes or no? Okay, okay, perfect. Now over here, if you see, this is a data. This is a data. Okay, everything that we play around with, it's a data, right? In data science, we give data the higher priority because because data science, in data science, data plays a major impact, right? This is a data, right? And we can get any kind of data. We can have multiple data. We can get a data in this format. Let's say today is Monday. Let's say today is Monday. Okay, this is a kind of data. This is a kind of data. If I say I am 70 years old, I am 70 years old, this is also kind of data, right? With the help of this data, you can perform a lot of analysis. With the help of this data, you can perform a lot of analysis, right? But you need to understand what are the types of data. How many types of data are there? Okay, this is the data, but data can also be of different type. Data can also be of different type, right? So in Python, we majorly discuss about 4 types of data. That is known, the concept is known as the data types. Okay, the data types that we are going to discuss will be string, will be integer, will be float, and boolean. Okay, these are some kind of data types that we are going to discuss about. Okay, now what exactly is a string? A phrase, a sentence, a word that includes all the alphabets, or in a simpler way, anything that been enclosed, anything that is been enclosed within the inverted commas. What is exactly the inverted commas? That means, suppose if this is my data, if this is my data, okay, this is my data, there must be some type of this data, right? If you see this data, this is Python, this is an alphabet, this is a word, okay, this is an English word kind of data, right? If I say 23, this is also a data, but this data is different from this data. And how? Because the type of this data is a number data. This is a number data, this is a word data. Are you guys getting this? Are you guys getting this? Yes or no? Are you guys getting this? Yes or no? Come on. Okay. So we are discussing about the data types over here. We are discussing about the data types over here, right? So now let's start with the string data type. How we say what exactly is a string data? This is your data or any data that is enclosed within the inverted commas. This is your inverted commas. This is how your inverted comma looks like. Okay, any data that comes under or be enclosed within this inverted comma is known as a string data, is known as a string data. So over here, if you look very carefully, this is my data is hello and world, and it's been enclosed within the inverted comma. So this inverted comma can be a single inverted comma. Let me write over here, single inverted comma. Okay, this is how your single inverted comma, let me write over here, data. This is how your single inverted comma looks like. Or you can have a double inverted comma as well. Double inverted, where is that? Inverted comma. Okay, you can have your data inside this as well. Okay, so both the syntax is correct. If you're defining a string, any data that comes under this enclosed bracket, enclosed inverted commas, is known as a string. Okay, so if you see over here, what exactly is the data type for this? What exactly is the data type for this data? Anyone, come on, anyone, what exactly is the data type for this kind of data? Come on, come on, tell me, come on. It's a string data. Perfect. It's a string data. Okay, the type of the data is a string data. No, we don't have anything as a character. Okay, in Python, we are very straightforward. Okay, we don't have any form of character and string. We call this as a string only. We call this as a string only. Okay, and if you see, the color has already been changed. So this is a string data. This is a string data. Okay, so what exactly is a string data? Any data that has been enclosed within the inverted commas. It may be a single inverted commas, it may be a double inverted commas. Okay, now let's talk about the next data, that is integer. Okay, now integer and float comes under the family of numbers. Integer and float comes under the family of numbers. Okay, now the basic funda of integer is a number without a decimal point is known as integer. A number with a decimal point is known as a float. Simple. A number, okay, this is a number. A number without a decimal point is known as an integer. A number with a decimal point is known as float. So this is integer and this is float. This is integer and this is float. If you see, this is your decimal point. Okay, if your number is having this decimal point, then the data type is a float data type. If your number is not having this this decimal point, then your data is integer. Okay, so in different languages, in Java, C, you must have heard about integer, float, and you must have heard about double as well. Okay, you must have heard about double as well, right? But in Python, we don't have such concept of double data type. We have integer and we have float. We have integer and we have float. Okay, so they are going to come under the family of numbers. They are going to come under the family of numbers. Okay, so if you are defining an integer, that means, what does integer mean? A number without any decimal point. Without any decimal point. That means it will be 23, it might be 56, it might be 09, it might be 90, anything else. Okay, and similarly we have floating values. Floating value means a number with a decimal value, with a decimal point, or decimal point with a decimal point. That means 23.56, it may be 56.89, it may be 90.56. Okay, so these two are numbers, but in numbers also we have different types of numbers, right? We have an integer and we have a float. Okay, so last data type that we are going to discuss about will be a Boolean data. Okay, so if anyone of you is from any engineering fields, you must have heard about this Boolean, right? You must have seen this Boolean on the circuit gates as well. Okay, if you must have heard about AND gates, NAND gates, NOR gates and all that, right? So in that we have this Boolean. Boolean holds only two values. Boolean holds only two values, that is true and false. True and false. Okay, so Boolean have only two values. We have true and we have false. That's it. That's the only two values this Boolean will going to hold up. Okay, so these are the four data types. Is it clear? Yes or no? Is it clear? Yes or no? Give me a confirmation, please. Is this clear? Is this clear? Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. So let's see how exactly this data, how we can print all this kind of data. Okay. Now see, we have the print function. Let's say this is a print function. First, we are going to print the string data. First, we are going to print the string data. Okay. Let's say Tony Stark is Iron Man. Tony Stark is Iron Man. Okay, so now if I ask you what is the data type for this data, What is the data type for this data? Come on, tell me, come on, fast. Data type for this data. What is the data type for this data? String, exactly, perfect, awesome. This is a string data type. This is a string data type. I do love him, okay? So thank you so much. Okay, perfect. So yeah, so this is the string data type, and we know we have a special place for Tony Stark and Iron Man, right? Awesome. So over here, this is the string. Now, how do we know that it's a string data type? It might happen that it may happen that this is a integer data type, it may be float data, but I want to rectify it, right? So similarly, that we have a print function, right? So we have another function known as a type function. We have another function known as a type function. Type function says that give me the data, and I am going to tell you that what exactly is the data type of that data. You give me the data, and I give you the data type of the data, whether it's a string, it's an integer, it's a float, it's a boolean. Okay, so let's say this is my data. Let's provide this data to a type function. Let's provide this data to a type function. Let's paste it over here, and let's see. It's a string data. Okay, so str is a short form of string. Okay, so str is a short form of string. Str integer will going to have a short form as int, and boolean is going to have a short form as bool. Float will going to have doesn't have any short form. Okay, so it will be float only. So this is how we confirm that yes, the data type of this data is a string. Okay, so if I ask you, okay, if that's a string, how about this data? This is 45. 45 is a number. So now if I'm going to print this, if I'm going to run this cell, what do you think will going to be the data type? What do you think will going to be the data type? Is it a string or an integer or a float or a boolean? Okay, okay. Some people have got this perfect. Okay, perfect. So guys, this is not a string. Sorry, so this is not an integer. Okay, so this is not an integer. Okay, this is not an integer because I have already told you any data, now see, this is any data. Any data means a data can be a string, a data can be integer, float, boolean. Any data that has been enclosed within the inverted commas is known as a string. So over here, though 45 is an integer, but still 45 is enclosed within the inverted commas. Yes or no? Yes or no? Come on, tell me. Are you guys getting this? Okay. Yes, it is enclosed in the inverted commas. That's why, though this data itself, only this region is integer, but still it is, since it has been enclosed, so it is a string. So let me change this number. If this is a Tony Stark, we are talking about Tony Stark, so let's change this number to 3000. Okay, so let's run this and we can say that it's a string data type. It's a string data type because 3000 is an integer, but still, since it has been enclosed within the inverted commas, doesn't matter if it's a single inverted commas or if it's a double inverted commas. Most of the time people get confused that, oh, what exactly is the single inverted commas? You are using single inverted commas, how about a double inverted commas? They both are same. They both will going to reflect the string value. Okay, so now if I say type and if I say 3000, come on, data type, come on, give me the data type. Give me the data type. Come on. Give me the data type. Integer. Awesome. Perfect. Okay, so the data type over here is an integer because if you see, the color has already been changed, right? So anything that has been a string will going to have this color. That's the beauty of a notebook. Okay, that's the beauty of a notebook. Over here everything has been marked with different colors, so you can, it is very easy for you to understand, right? So over here if you see, this was same data. This is 3000, but this 3000 is enclosed in inverted commas, so which hence make it as a string. But since over here it is not been enclosed in an inverted comma, this will going to make it as an integer and it will going to print as int. That is a shorthand notation for integer. Okay, let's see this. That's an integer. Perfect. Okay, if we say type and we say 3000 3000.0 or point 0, now this is a number. Okay, this is a number, but what is the data type? What exactly is the data type? Is it an integer or a float? Come on, integer or float? It's a float. It's a float. Exactly. Perfect. Okay. So this is a float. Let's run this and we will going to find out this is a float. Okay. So over here you have to understand that 3000, 3000 and 3000.0. Okay. So if we talk about the worth, they both are same. If we talk about the worth, they both are same. Let's suppose there are two people. Okay, the two people went to a shopkeeper and the first people gave him a 3000. Let's say the first people say that okay, I am giving you 3000, and second people say that okay, I am giving you 3000.0, 3000.0. Right, now see, the worth is exactly same. The worth of both the rupees is exactly same. 3000 rupees is the same as 3000.0. Yes or no? Yes or no? Are you guys getting this? Are you guys getting this? Okay, are you guys getting this? Yes or no? Okay, perfect. So over here you need to understand the word is same, but they are not identically same. They are not identically same. The reason being is this 3000 is a different data type, and this 3000.0 is of different data type. Okay, so we are done with string, we are done with integer, we are done with float. Let's move on to understand about boolean. What exactly is this boolean? Okay, so since I have already mentioned that boolean only has two values, that is true and false, 0 and 1, on and off. These are the value of booleans. Okay, so if I say type and if I'm going to print as true, now see, as soon as I have written true, it has got a different color. Okay, now this true, since this true is not been enclosed inside a inverted commas, if it does, it will going to make it as a string. Okay, if I put like this and if I'm going to run this, you will going to say it's a boolean. That is, it's a boolean data type. It's a boolean data type. So are you guys cleared with all the four data types that we have? Are you guys clear with that? Are you guys clear with that? Yes or no? Perfect. Shall we move on? Shall we move on? No confusion till here? Perfect. Okay, cool. Now we are going to understand that this is a data. What happen is that when you declare all this kind of data, it automatically has been added into the memory. Okay, it has been added into a memory. Okay, let's suppose we are having a memory. This is a memory. Let's suppose this is a memory strip. Okay, now you have declared a word that hey, you need to print something, some kind of data. This is your data. Okay, this can be any form data. This data will going to take up some memory. This data will going to take up some memory. Right, now what we do is we name this memory. We name this memory so that in future if we want to reuse this data, we can easily use that. Okay, so what we do is we name this bucket. Okay, so we are having a bucket, and in this bucket we are storing our data. That means, let's suppose if you see over here, I have written this Tony Stark is a data is Iron Man. Okay, now this is a data. Now it may happen that after writing 1000 lines of code, I again want to use this data. I again want to use this kind of data. Now see, this data has already been taking a memory. Okay, it has already been stored in a memory. It is taking a huge amount of space. Right, now what I want to do, if I'm a smart coder, I am going to reuse this piece of code. I will going to reuse this piece of code. Okay, if suppose I want to put this, you reuse this phrase after 1000 line of code. So instead of creating a new phrase or creating a new data so that it can enter in the memory, I am going to reuse this piece of data. Right, if I want to reuse this piece of data, what will going to happen? I have to recall it over and over again. This data can be of any length, so that means after that I have to recall it again and again and again. So what we do is we put our data into a container. This is a bucket. You can call this as a container. So what happened is that if this is my bucket, Okay, I put all my data over here. So the next time if I want to bring whatsoever content is there, I can easily call my bucket name and I will able to access all the data. It sounds very confusing. What exactly is a bucket? What's the data and all that? Let's understand in this way. Let's suppose you have planned a trip. You have planned a trip that okay, we are going to go. We have planned a trip and we are going to go abroad. Are you going to go for a trip just like that without packing and all that? You will going to pack all the steps. Yes or no? You will going to pack a lot of stuffs. You will going to go for shopping and you will going to pack it and you will going to make your luggage. Yes or no? Yes or no? You will going to prepare your luggage, you will going to prepare some of your bags, and with that bags you are going to go. Yes or no? Right? So what happened is that what exactly happened in your bag is what you do is this is your bag. If suppose this is your bag or luggage, what you do is over here you put your some like suppose you have put some suits, you have put in some of your laptops over here, you have put some accessories over here, some toothbrushes and slippers and all that, right? So what happened is that there's a one more scenario that you don't have bag, you don't have bag. Then what happened that you have to take all this stuff on your hand and you have to travel. So don't you think it is very inconvenient, right? So what you do is you wrap all this into a luggage, you wrap all this into a luggage and you can bring this luggage from one place to another, and you are sure enough, that if the luggage is traveling with you, at the same point all your stuff is also traveling with you. If your luggage is also traveling with you, if you are having your luggage at the same time, it means that you can access all the accessory that is being kept in this luggage. Yes or no? Are you guys getting this? Yes or no? Come on. Are you guys getting this? Yes or no? Come on, tell me. Okay, the same way is the concept of this word known as variable. The same way we have the concept of variable. What does variable says? Variable says that I am a bucket, okay, in this bucket put all of your data. This is your bucket or your container. Put all your data inside it so that after some time, if you want to reuse this data, simply what you need to do is you need to call me. You need to call me by my name, and with the help of that you can easily access my data or the contents that I'm going to have. Okay, so this is known as variables. This is known as variables. Okay, this concept is known as variables. Okay, so we are going to put your data into a variable. So now if this is my data, okay, if this is my data, this is a string data, I want to put it into a variable. You have to define a variable name. We have to define a variable name, and with the help of this sign, what exactly this operator means? This is an assignment operator. This is an assignment operator. That means you're assigning this data, to this variable. You're assigning this data to this variable so that in the upcoming time, if you want to access this data, you can simply call this variable name and automatically you can easily access the data. Okay, this can be a variable name. Okay, let's suppose let me say var. Okay, now let me enter this. Now what happened that this data is getting a name as well. So whenever I want to call this data, I need to call its variable name. Let's say I say print where. That means print where means print the data of this where. So if I'm going to run this up, I'm getting the same data. I'm getting the same data that has been kept under the variable where. Okay, and this is so powerful that even after 1,000 lines of code or 10,000 lines of code or millions lines of code, if you want to reuse this data, you can easily call this variable where, and you can easily access this data. Is this clear? Is this clear? Yes or no? Is this clear? Yes or no? Okay. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Cool. So now one more thing I want to tell you is that suppose I am having this name, and let me say over here the name is Tony Stark. The name over here is Tony Stark. Okay, so let me run this. So what happened is that currently the name variable is storing the information as Tony Stark. Okay, so let me print this name. and we're going to find out Tony Stark has been printed, and it also gives us a glimpse that Tony Stark is a string. Can you see this inverted commas, right? Now, if I say name is equals to Steve Rogers, name is equals to Steve Rogers. Okay, now as soon as I'm going to run this cell, now see, this variable is also name, this variable is also name, and earlier it was storing the name as Tony Stark, now it is storing the name as Steve Rogers. If I'm going to print the variable name, what do you think will going to get printed? Will it going to print Tony Stark, or will it going to print Steve Rogers? Come on, let's see. Will it going to print Tony Stark, or will it going to print Steve Rogers? Steve Rogers, okay, perfect. No, it will not going to print Thanos, okay? Definitely not. Okay, perfect. It will going to print Steve Rogers, exactly, guys, okay? Because the concept of overriding has been happened over here. That means Python interpreter will going to pick out the latest code. Python interpreter will going to pick out the latest code. Just understand in this way. You must have read about chemistry during your school days. I believe so, right? So just remember that those days when we have started with chemistry, it was absolutely senseless. It was absolutely senseless, right? First we have studied about the Rutherford model. We says, okay, Rutherford model has this thing, plum pudding model and all that, and it took us a lot of while to understand what was that, right? As soon as we have understood that, okay, this is Rutherford model is this, the next statement comes up is Rutherford model was wrong. You must have heard about that, right? Rutherford model is wrong. J.J. Thomson has proved this wrong, and J.J. Thomson has the better explanation and better model than that. Remember those days? Yes or no? Do you guys remember those days where we were used to teach this kind of stuff, right? So what happened is that first we have seen, okay, Rutherford has created something. Then we have been told to update ourselves that no, Rutherford was wrong. Now we have J.J. Thomson. So now what we do is, in our brain, we update the name from Rutherford, we make it to J.J. Thomson. Okay, next it was Bose, and so on and so forth, right? So the same way over here, Python is doing. Python says that, okay, the interpreter says that, okay, you are defining a name, and name is Tony Stark, perfect. But after some time, if you're declaring the same name, so it gives the sensation to the Python that now I need to update the name. Now I need to update the variable if the variable is having the same name, okay? If you are having a different name of this variable, then there will be no confusion. If you're having different name of this variable, then there will be no confusion. Then there will be a variable known as name, and then there will be a variable known as name underscore, right? But if you're having the same variable, now the Python will going to take and give the more priority to the updated code as compared to the previous and the old code. So that's how this code has been updated. This code has been updated. Now in Python, Python is so interesting. The reason being is that Python has an automated garbage collection system. Python has, let me explain you this concept. This is very, very interesting and very important. Python has a automated garbage collection system. So it oftenly asks during the interview what exactly is the garbage collection, guys. Okay, it oftenly asks in interview that what exactly do you understand by the garbage collection, and how exactly Python acts, and how exactly Python, if Python is having the garbage collection, how exactly Python handle that. Garbage collection means that suppose if you are saying, if you are declaring a data, okay, you are saying that A is equals to let's say Thanos. You're saying Thanos, okay, A is equals to Thanos. This is a kind of data. So as soon as you're going to run this cell, what happens is that this data, some memory will going to assign, to this data to store this data into this container. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Come on. Getting this? If you are going to declare our data or storing it into a variable, then some memory will be assigned to that, right? So what will going to happen? Okay, this is a memory, and A, over here the variable name is A is having some data as Thanos. Okay, now after that if you say that A is equals to let's say new Thanos, let's say a is equals to new Thanos, right? So what is happening is that you are changing the data, you are changing the variable is same, but the data has been changed. So what happened, this data will also be going to take some memory in the, this data will also going to take some memory over here, right? Now see, we are already having Thanos that has taking up a memory, and we are having a new Thanos, right? So what happened in different languages, is that now when you do such kind of act, the earlier data, the old data still remains in the memory, the older data still remains in the memory. Now see, I don't want my older data, now it's at just a waste for me, okay, but still it is occupying the space, it is still occupying the, if you don't want something and it is still occupying the space, don't you think it is very important to remove that thing? Don't you think it is very important to remove that thing? Yes or no? If it is not important, if it is not useful, but still it is taking a lot of space, yes or no? Okay, so what happened is that in different language you have to do this manually, but in Python this is known as a garbage collection. Now this value is a garbage, this value is a garbage for us, because we don't know, we don't want this kind of data, because this data is a old data, we want new data. So this data is known as a garbage, this data is known as a garbage. And when we say Python has an automated garbage collection system, that means as soon as this data becomes the garbage, Python automatically removes the memory. Python automatically clears off the memory. So what happens that Python will clear off this memory. Python will clear off this memory. So this is the automated garbage system of Python. So please make sure that you know about this. Okay, it has oftenly been asked during the interview. Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay. Is that clear? Okay. Perfect. So now this, we have done this, we have done the reassignment. Okay, so this is known as a name, and this is also a name, we have changed the name over here. Okay, similarly you can declare a lot of variables. You can say a name over here. Let's suppose the name over here is Bruce Banner. Okay, now we have the age. So what kind of data, will be the age? Will it be a string data, integer data, or a float data, or a Boolean data? Come on, tell me. What kind of data will be for the age? Int data, string data, float data? Integer, exactly, it will be an integer. Remember that it will never be a float data, because age cannot be in float data. Yes or no? Age cannot be in float data. You cannot say that okay, print attendance list provided to you at the end. Okay, you cannot say that someone is 12.5 years old. You cannot say that, right? We never usually say that, right? So that's why the age is always having the data type as an integer. Let's say Bruce Banner is of 45 years old. You can add different name over here and different things over here. If I'm going to run this up now, if I say print over here, I'm going to say name and age. So let's run this. So if you see, the name has been printed as Bruce Banner, and then we are having this age. Clear? Yes or no? His age is unknown. Okay, perfect. So we are just assuming that. Okay, perfect. Clear? Till here, is it clear? Okay, perfect. Now over here, these are something that we are hard coding. Okay, these are known as the hard coding. That means we are providing the name over here so that no one can change. What if I want to give the name? I want a user to provide the name. I want a user to provide the name. So I want to interact with the user. I want a user to provide the same. This name has been hard coded, right? This name has been hard coded, that I have written this Bruce Banner. So this name is hard coded, right? So whenever I'm going to print this variable name as name, it will always going to print Bruce Banner, because this data has been hard coded. Now, if I want to take an input, so we are talking about taking an input from the user, okay? So in various application you must have seen, like a calculator and all that, right? A user gives an input, right? So if you want to give an input, you need to use the function input. We have a function known as the input function. Okay, this input function can be used to take the input from the user. This input function can be used to take the it can be used to take the input from the user. So I am taking the input, so I want to store it somewhere as well, right? So let's say we have a variable name as name, and we are taking an input, okay, and we are going to print the input. Let's say we are going to say print, sorry, not input, we are going to print the name. Whatsoever name a user will going to type over here, we are going to print that up. Okay, let's run this. What exactly is your name? What exactly is your name? Let's say Thor Odinson. So as soon as I'm going to run this, Thor Odinson will going to get printed over here. Now, even though if I am going to print over here name, you will going to see the name is Thor Odinson. This how you can take the input from the user. Okay. Now, if you say that I want to write a placeholder because it is looking very difficult at what exactly I need to print over here. What exactly I need to print over here, right? So I can write a message over here. Enter your name like this. Enter your name. Okay, like this you can write over here. Okay, and over here as well I can write the name is okay, the name is, and whatsoever name will be going to come up over here. Let me run this now. See, can you see this placeholder? Can you see this placeholder? It's looking like good, right? So we know that what information we have to provide over here. Enter your name. So we have Thor Odinson. Okay, as soon as I'm going to run enter, now see, it is printing the name is Thor Odinson. Okay, if you don't want space, you can click that. The name is Thor Odinson. So with the help of this, you can easily take the input from the user. Is it clear? Is it clear? Yes or no? Is it clear? Yes or no? Okay. Okay. Perfect. Now you need to understand a very crucial thing over here is that this input function takes the input in a form of a string. That means doesn't matter what kind of data you will going to provide to this input function, it will always going to treat this data as a string data. It will always going to treat this data as a string data. That means if you are going to provide a number, right, it will not going to treat that number as an integer or a floating value. It will treat that as a string only. So let me take another input. Let's say we are having the age. Okay, so now I say input, and let me say enter your age. Enter your age. Okay, now we know that age should be in a form of integer. Age should be in a form of integer, right? So let me write over here print. What you are going to print? Print the type of age. Print the type of this age. So age should be in a form of integer, right? So let me run this up. And what is the age of Thor? 5,000, right? Let's say 5,000. Now see this. As soon as I have run 5,000, it is showing us the class is string. But this is wrong. But this is wrong because the age should always be in the data type of integer. Yes or no? Yes or no? Right? Age should be in the data type of an integer, right? But it is coming as a string. Okay, so what we do is now we are going to talk about the concept known as a typecasting. We are going to talk about the concept typecasting. Typecasting means to change from one type to another. Change from one type to another. That means if your data is in a form of string, convert that into an integer. If your data is in a form of integer, convert that into a string. If your data is in a form of integer, you want to convert it into a float, you can do that. So this concept is known as a typecasting. This concept is known as a typecasting. Okay, so over here if I say a is equals to 45, let me run this, and if I'm going to say print the type of a, it will going to give you a string. It will going to give you a string. Okay, but I want to change the data type from string to integer, and this is a valid data. This is a valid data. Okay, the data needs to be valid. That means 45, in converting 45 from string to integer, it is a valid data, right? If I say ABC, and if I say I want to convert this data into string data, this is an invalid data. You cannot convert ABC into an integer, right? This is an invalid data. So you need to make sure whenever you are performing this typecasting, the data should be a valid data. Okay, let's say we are having this over here 45. Let me run this. And the data type over here is a string. Is it a string? Yes, it is. Now I want to change this data type from string to integer. So I'm going to say integer. Because we know the shorthand notation for integer is int. Let me write over here the shorthand notation. Integer has a shorthand notation as int. String has a shorthand notation as str. Then we have boolean has a shorthand notation as bull, and float has a shorthand notation as float only. Okay, so with the help of these functions you can easily convert the data from one type to another. So we want to convert this data from string to integer, so I'm going to write over here as integer. Okay, and the data, let me run this up. This has been created. Now how can we rectify whether this is integer or this is a float? What we're going to do, just cut this up and paste it under this type function, and let's see this. You can see it has been changed to integer. It has been changed to integer. So either if you want to assign, or you can go with assignment, or you can go with reassignment. Okay, if you want to go with reassignment, you can say a is equals to integer of a. You can go like this as well. If you want to go with assignment, you can declare any other variable, and you can go like int is equals to b is equals to int b. Okay, so this concept is known as reassignment. Reassignment, that means you are reassigning a variable to itself. Okay, so variable was a, now you're changing the variable to it itself, and you're storing in the same variable name. Okay, this is known as a reassignment, and this is known as an assignment operator. Sorry, this is known as the assignment. That means you are assigning it to a new variable. You are assigning this data to a new variable that is known as b. Okay, so this is known as assignment, and this is known as reassignment. Is this clear? Is this clear? Is this clear? Till here, is this clear? Yes or no? Give me a confirmation. Perfect. Okay, let's talk about some of the operators. In Python we have some kind of operators as well. Okay, so far you must have seen one operator, that is equal to. This equal to is an assignment operator. Assignment operator. Okay, I've already talked about this operator. Assignment operator means that you're assigning something to a variable. So whenever you want to assign something to a variable, you use this equal to sign. That means how we have to read this statement, that means you are assigning this data to the variable name a. This is how we are going to read. Okay, so similar way we have a lot of operators. We have a plus operator, minus operator. Let's see this. Let's suppose I am having 2. Okay, this is one operator known as plus. This is known as a addition operator. With the help of this you can perform the addition. Now see, if you want to perform a subtraction, this is a subtraction operator, that is a minus. Okay, if you want to perform multiplication, you use this asterisk. A single asterisk means multiplication. This is a multiplication operator. Okay, let's run this. You can see over here you are getting 4. Okay, similarly if you want to do a division, so for division we have this slash operator. This slash means this is a division operator. So let's run this. So over here you can see this is a division operator. Okay, now when you divide you are getting like 1.0, right? If you say no, I only want those number without any decimal point, right? So for that you need to use double slash. You need to use double slash, so it will going to give you the value only before the decimal point, only before the decimal point. Okay, if you say I want to perform the square root, I want to perform the square root, that is 2 raised to power 2, 4 raised to power 4. So to perform that, you need to have 2 asterisk. 1 asterisk is for multiplication, and 2 asterisk means the square root. Okay, so let me write over here, so it will be very easy for you guys to understand. This is for the addition. This is for the addition. Let me copy this. And this is for the subtraction. This is for the multiplication, and we have the multiplication. This is for your division. This is known as a division operator, and this is known as what operator it is. Do you know about the name of this operator? Anyone? I just forgotten about this name. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so this is known as oh, this is the remainder operator, I guess. No, this is not for the remainder operator. Sorry, this is for the square root operator. Square root operator. Okay, this is a square root operator. Okay, now if you want to find out the remainder as well, you know, when we have two numbers, like suppose if we are dividing like 2 and 5, right? We have two things. We have quotient and we have remainder. So 2 is 4, and then we have 1. This if 1 is known as a remainder. This one is known as a remainder. Okay, so if you want to find the remainder, we have a remainder, we have the remainder operator as well. Remainder operator is, let's suppose, 5 then 2. This is known as a remainder operator. If I'm going to run this up, you will going to get this 1. You will going to get this 1. Is this clear? Is this clear? Floor operator. Okay, it's a floor operator. Okay, is an exponential. Perfect. Is a power operator. Yeah, it's a, sorry, it's not a square root because I have provided this 2. This means square. It's a power. Okay, so that means this can be anything. This can be anything. Okay, this can be anything. Perfect. And this is a remainder operator. With the help of this, you can perform a lot of things over here. Okay, is this clear? Is this clear to all of you? Yes or no? Perfect. So these are some of the concept in Python. These are some of the concept in Python. Now you know how to do a plus and multiplication and all that. You know how to take an input. Let's make a simple program, a calculator. Let's make a simple program of a calculator where a user will going to give the first number. User will going to give us the second number, and user will going to give us the operator. User will going to choose the operator, whether it will plus, multiply, or anything else, right? User will going to choose the operator, okay, and based on that you will going to perform the operation. Based on that you will going to perform the operation. This is a simple program that we are going to do that, but before that we are going to learn about some more concept about the conditional statement and loops part. Okay, after you learning the conditional statement, we are going to do this program. We are going to do this program tomorrow. Okay, so till here it's clear. Till here it's clear. Okay, so that's the entire wrap for today. I think it's pretty much a lot of for today. Okay, so this is all about the basic about the Python. This is a basic about Python. Okay, so tomorrow we are going to discuss about the data structures in Python, and we are going to discuss about the loops. We are going to discuss about the conditional statement and some portion of oops concept. Okay, and some portion of oops concept, because oops is very important when you want to integrate some machine learning model to your to make some softwares. Okay, so when you want to make some softwares, oops concept plays a very vital role, and even in the IT industry, oops concept has a very vital role. So you cannot exempt that. You cannot ignore this concept as oops concept. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to cover that, and tomorrow will be the wrap of Python. And now the next day onwards we're going to start with machine learning, and the excitement level will going to go at high. Okay, perfect. So let me share the attendance link with all of you. So this is the attendance link. Let me copy this and let me paste it over here. Okay, and let me ping this as well so you guys can check this. Ping this mess. Okay, now the attendance link has already been pinged on the top on it of your chat section. Okay, so you guys can go on, and please be hurry because attendance is more important. Okay, because if you are not getting the 100% attendance, you will not going to get a certification. So please do that right away, and please do that at the same time. Okay, so let's start with the doubt session. If you have any doubt session, please ask. Is there any doubt session? Is there anyone who is having any doubt session? Any doubts? Any doubts? Come on. No? Any doubts? Yeah, even though I think that, right, because the until and unless React bootcamps complete, so we cannot start this bootcamp. So most probably it let's start with 6:15 only, as the person has suggested. We can start from 6:15 to 7:15, and I hope at that time the React bootcamp has already been over. Okay, so that's why we have to wait a lot of time for that bootcamp to end. Okay, so from tomorrow we're going to make sure. So let's start from 6:15 only. Okay, that sounds good. Okay. There's a huge, what is that? Overcome the dismerits of, yeah, exactly. Oops concept is used to overcome the dismerits of procedural programming languages. Exactly. Now C is not an oops concept. C doesn't follow an oops concept. It has a procedures. You write a procedures there, right? Everything is been done by function. But we don't have any class and all that. Okay. Perfect. Okay, no doubts, no doubts. And yesterday, I also see one person who was writing that can we do robotics with the help of Python? Yes, you can do that. Even though you can program an Arduino, you can program a Raspberry Pi, you can make an IoT device with Python. You can do that. You can do that. Okay, perfect. No doubts. Awesome. Okay, so thank you so much for joining in this session. Have a great weekend, and I hope this session was very informative for all of you. Tomorrow we're going to look some more concept of Python with some more energy, and that's how we're going to wrap this up. Okay, so thank you so much for joining in, and let's meet tomorrow then. Okay, bye. See you all. See you soon. Thank you.